did God lie to Adam? There is a Luciferian doctrine which is creeping into the churches across the world, which says that God lied about the consequences of eating the forbidden fruit. They even go a step farther and claim that Satan was only trying to help mankind. This is false. In the book of Genesis we find the creation of the world and everything in it. The first man and woman are created and placed in the Garden of Eden, a beautiful paradise with trees and wildlife. Adam was given the responsibility of naming all of the animals and vegetation which the Lord had created. The Lord also placed two trees, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and the tree of life, in the middle of the garden. God told Adam that he and his wife Eve eat freely the fruit of all of the trees in the garden, except for one, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Notice Adam was given access to eat from the tree of life, a tree which allows one to live forever. God only told Adam not to eat of the tree or knowledge because if he eats from this tree he will die. Creation was brand new and mankind was still pure because sin had not yet entered into the world. Genesis 2:15 And the Lord God took the man, and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. 2:16 And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. 2:17 But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. 2:19 And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field, and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them, and whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. 2:25 And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Notice they were still innocent and didn't know right from wrong and therefore didn't realize they were even naked. Genesis 2:9 And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Genesis 2:16 And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. 2:17 But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. Notice that God never commanded Adam not to eat of the tree of life, which makes one live forever. So mankind could have lived forever in paradise had Adam obeyed the one commandment from God. Genesis 3:1 Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? 3:2 And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. 3:3 But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. 3:4 And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. Luciferians hold to the belief that Satan was trying to help mankind by leading them to enlightenment. But this is false. The truth is that Satan was only trying to deceive the woman into rebelling against God just like he had done. Because Satan knew that this rebellion would allow sin to enter into the world. 3-5 For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Satan tells Eve a half-truth, which is a lie. Their eyes would be open, but it would come at the cost of their lives. And the next verse changes the course of history. Genesis 3-6 And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Genesis 3-7 And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons. 3-8 And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden. 3-9 And the Lord God called unto Adam, and said unto him, Where art thou? 3:10 And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. 3:11 And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree, whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? 3:12 And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. 3:13 And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Genesis 3:22 And the Lord God said, Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil, and now, lest he put forth his hand, and take also of the tree of life, and eat, and live forever. You see, God never said that the fruit itself would kill them. What God meant by saying that they would surely die in the day that they eat from the tree of knowledge is that by doing so they would in turn be forfeiting their access to the tree of life, thus bringing death into the world. Genesis 3:24 So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims, and a flaming sword which turned every way, to keep the way of the tree of life. So we can see that God did not lie. God knew that once the sin of rebellion had found its way into the world, that sin would only continue to further corrupt mankind, and with the newly acquired knowledge of God combined with the sin nature of man, that would be a dangerous combination. So it left God with no other choice than to cut man off from the tree of life, which in turn brought death to mankind. Thanks for watching this film. Be sure to give this video a like, and comment below what you would like for me to cover next. Also don't forget to subscribe to my channel.